Hey, Jane, spoke to one of the peers last week while you were on vacation. How about it?
Should have stayed on vacation, but who'd you talk to?
A young lady named Katie, a friend of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan.
Oh, really? Is she a suspect or a witness?
With this case, who the hell knows, but she's considered a friend, so a witness. Remember the interviews the mainstream media held with the peers? Katie was the.
Oh, I remember her now. She's the one who called Kaylee, right?
Yep, that's her. But there's more. So much more.
She has a lead?
I would say so. She claimed Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan used cocaine.
Wow, this is huge. I need to take a seat.
She told one of the Moscow PD officers this in her interview. I have the file. Let's check it out. Hello, Katie, right?
Yes, sir.
My name is Detective John Doe with CIU, the Chaos Investigation Unit. I wanted to speak to you about your relationship with the victims of the Idaho murders.
Uh, okay.
How well did you know the victims?
Um, Pretty well. At least a few of them.
Which housemates would that be?
Uh, I knew Kaylee pretty well. We were good friends. I knew Xana well, also, and met her boyfriend Ethan about a year ago. Madison, I became associated with her through Kaylee, who is her best friend. So, yeah,
Okay, did you know the other housemates, Bethany and Dylan?
slightly. We met a few times, but we never hung out or anything like that, if that's what you mean.
Okay, I see. Now, I know you have been interviewed before by the Moscow Police Department. I wanted to basically go over a few things mentioned. You said that a few of the housemates used drugs. Is this correct?
I don't recall saying that.
Well, you did in your interview with Detective John Rowinski. Does this ring a bell?
I guess?
I want to get straight to the point here, Katie. You knew those housemates did drugs. It appears cocaine was their drug of choice. Now, I have enough common sense to know that you know at least the basics. That's all I need from you. Can you provide this?
What do you want to know? I don't know anything about the murders.
Perhaps, but that's why we're here now. Heck, that's why Rowinski interviewed you, remember? Be straight with me, Katie. Did you use cocaine as well?
No, I didn't touch that stuff.
Okay, I can take your word for it for now. But how did you know those housemates did cocaine? Did you witness it? Did someone tell you?
I. Someone told me at a party.
Was this party nearby?
Yeah, some of our college peers had a party one night and they were there.
Who exactly would they be?
Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were there.
So at this party, did you find out if they were using cocaine?
Well, no, I didn't see it, but they were hanging out with people who did use it okay, I saw it and I didn't like it.
Understandable. You mentioned they were hanging out with people who did. Did you know any of them?
Yeah, a girl and a guy.
Were they a part of your circle or just kids from school?
No, well, they're.
Let me guess. They were the drug dealers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you happen to know the names of these dealers?
To be honest, I feel like it's not safe for me to talk about this anymore. I don't want any trouble.
You have nothing to worry about. This is all confidential. We have investigated this murder case, and drugs seem to be connected to the motive behind them. As you know, Brian Koberger had been charged for the murders, but there has been evidence to suggest he's innocent. We just want the truth, Katie.
That guy murdered them. How can you question it? His DNA was in the home.
There were other males' DNA at the home, which your local police department decided to ignore, including blood DNA. So, what merit does DNA have in the case? Come on now. But did those housemates owe money to the drug cartel?
I'll tell you what I know, and then I have nothing else. So, Kaylee told me She had started dating one of the cops, and
Really, that's interesting.
I know, it was shocking to me. I didn't think it was a good idea. But I was told that someone in the house flushed drugs down the toilet. It was worth a crap load of money, and this is when things started to get weird.
Was it cocaine?
I don't know. They just said drugs. Oh, wait, I think it was pills? Like the fentanyl pills? I'm not sure.
Do you remember who told you this information?
I'm not giving you names. Kaylee stopped contacting me. She was moving out of town, so we weren't communicating like we used to. I'll give you a lead, but that's all I can do. The Whites on Taylor Avenue. That's all I can give you.
You know what? That's perfect. Katie, thank you for your cooperation. Have a nice day.
We just wanted to have fun, you know? Nobody deserved to die.
I know, Katie. I know. Well, seems Katie is a key player here.
Do you think she will talk?
Tough to say. I think she's more afraid of the consequences than eager to get justice for her friends. What do you think?
It's obvious she knows more than the Whites, but at least she gave us that lead, right?
Yeah, but I don't think she's clean, if you know what I mean.
What, you think she was using too?
Yep, and she doesn't want to admit to it because it puts her right in the thick of everything. She would know the dealers, the users, and why things unfolded the way it did.
You might be right about that. Friends don't let friends drive drunk unless they drive drunk as well.
Would she have ever mentioned anything about drugs if Rowinski hadn't asked her? I'm guessing an emphatic no.
But the Whites, now that needs to be looked into.
Yeah, what color is cocaine?
Talk about irony. What about the knife sheath, John?
What about it?
Apparently, Koberger's DNA was not discovered on the sheath.
Shouldn't be a shocker, right?
I know that, but what will be the outcome of it once the frame starts to show itself on a national scale? How will the state and even the federal government justify their actions when the very piece of evidence doesn't include the person they arrested for the crime?
That does present a problem for the state. But then again, something tells me Koberger isn't who we think he is.
What do you mean? Oh, do you think he's an undercover? Then this would mean he was working with the prosecution, basically. I don't know about that. I guess it's possible.
I don't think he was a, quote, random scapegoat. It's okay, I'm here to help you. Sounds like law enforcement. Or an undercover federal agent investigating the drug trafficking ring.
We know the housemates were doing cocaine. Bonnie and Clyde were the pushers in Moscow. Koberger is right next door studying criminology. You know what? It makes sense.
Yep. Either way, it's getting exposed. I'm headed out. Got to run a few errands. Care for coffee?
Nah, I'm going to go over a few notes.
No problem. I'll see if we can get more info on the drug ring, because I think someone snitched, but they're being kept out of the public eye.
Yeah, you don't ask about drugs if someone didn't give up some info. I mean, where did the alleged Mexican drug dealer info come from? Someone was talking. Take care.
Talk later. Oh, and if you get a chance to review the Rowinski file, just email me a copy of it.
Sure thing.
See ya!
Let's see here. Katie knows the truth, but is afraid. I understand, sure. John thinks she did cocaine. Maybe. Even if she didn't, knowing those victims used it means she was aware of the motive behind their murders. Rowinski had been informed about drugs possibly being related to the murders. All we have to do is follow the trail of peers who were interviewed. On the 15th, he interviewed a female, a junior at the university, and was friends with Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. The very 3 victims that used cocaine. Doesn't seem like a coincidence to me. Goes on to say she was not aware of anyone associated with Kaylee that had violent tendencies. Well, I would tend to think she wouldn't admit that since that person was violent. She was asked about drugs and stated she wasn't aware of any of the victims used drugs. Again, she wouldn't admit that. Seems this female is not willing to provide that information like Katie did. She goes on to say she was at a party at a friend's apartment called The Whites. And it's in quotation, so it's a nickname for the apartment unit. She saw Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan at the party. The 4 victims, 3 of them used cocaine, and was at a party earlier that night held in an apartment slated The Whites. It's possible they were using cocaine at that party. She goes on to say she saw Kaylee and Madison at the grub truck and spoke to Kaylee. Wait a minute, is this the female in the black Idaho sweater? She was definitely suspicious. In fact, she was whispering to her friends about Kaylee and Madison, even pointing in their direction after she had spoke to Kaylee. Since she was whispering, covering her mouth while talking to her friend, we have to assume there was a secret being revealed about one of the girls. That type of nefarious vibe usually indicates some level of spite, jealousy, dislike. You don't talk about people behind their backs like that unless you don't like them. Let me send this to John. I think this female could be a link in the chain.
Hey, John. Was preparing to send you the file. What's up?
I did a bit of digging and stumbled across an interview Moscow PD had with a young lady named Jenna McClure.
What's the find?
Well, she said that the girls dropped out of the sororities.
Who exactly?
Xana, Madison, and Kaylee. The officer asked why would members drop out, and Jenna said it could be a money issue or being under strict or tough demands.
Interesting. Do you think there's something relevant?
You know, from the general view of the Greek life, I would say it was a combination of money and hierarchy conflict.
Do you think they dropped due to their drug use? Cocaine is an expensive drug. I definitely see that being a problem paying their dues. Can't make the payments, start having conflict with their big sisters, and then they drop out.
Yeah, drug use also creates a sense of heightened ego or arrogance. I could definitely see Xana telling her big sister to F off.
Definitely. Xana was a firecracker. Was there anything else from her interview?
Well, apparently Bethany had called her later that morning, claiming that they were concerned that the housemates weren't answering their phones.
That's obviously a fabricated story.
Pretty much. We know they didn't go to sleep after hearing screaming that night. These interviews are a waste of time, except for Katie's. She's the only one who was provided important information relevant to the victims. Everyone else who has been interviewed by Moscow PD seemed to be treading lightly about what to say.
I would also suggest that Moscow PD didn't really show much interest in doing a detailed investigation. Kind of makes it easy for those college students to, have a casual conversation with them.
You're telling me even joking around with them?
Oh, you know who we should track down? The DoorDash driver.
That's not a bad idea.
She claimed she saw Koberger. Maybe we can pick her brain a bit.
Yeah, I'll see if we can reach out to her. Hopefully she's not in protective custody or anything.
I doubt it. Hey, let me finish up here and I'll send you the file. Talk later.
Okay, have a good one.
Maybe the girls dropped out of the sororities due to their cocaine habits, and their sisters started to put pressure on them. I wonder if they accumulate any debt in their sororities. If they dropped out, it's likely due to expenses. They weren't living a life of luxury, for sure. Typical college students. But cocaine surely put a dent in their finances. Maybe they were selling it as well, or at least letting it be trafficked in the home. Everyone claimed they didn't know, or claimed, that drugs were not being sold out of that house. But they wouldn't give up that information now, so it's not a fact just because some of them claimed they weren't. If they did claim drugs were being sold out of that house, then the case is clearly drug-related, and that points directly to Bonnie and Clyde. Katie told Rowinski that Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan used cocaine. They were at a party prior at an apartment nicknamed The Whites. That just screams code word for cocaine. Although it wasn't confirmed, Bethany received payments from other students that use coded language, which could be for drugs. She lied to law enforcement about being a resident there, which is also a sign that she had something to hide. You don't lie to law enforcement about residing there if you have nothing to hide. And this indicates that there was trafficking of drugs from that house. WSU Kim claimed that the housemates, being Dylan and Bethany, thought there was a stick-up. Now, for her to suggest this, first of all, she's getting information from her daughter, who was informed about the situation from another peer, who was informed from someone directly in the home, who we assumed was Bethany. And it comes full circle if we apply the theory that Bethany sold drugs out of that house. Second, why would WSU Kim even suggest this was possibly the scenario without any evidence that drugs were involved? You see, for her to suggest that, or based on what her daughter told her, there would have to be drugs involved for there to be a plan to stick those girls up for them. It's not some random home invasion and drugs just so happened to be discovered. Negative. In that scenario, the invaders specifically came to the home for the drugs. Now, despite WSU Kim's deception, with the motive being drug-related, then it's possible that there was a stick-up, but it was accompanied by a brutal message. Bethany and Dylan was essentially stuck up after the fact. Drugs and money was cleared out of that home and the killers left. In addition, Kaylee had about $125 in cash in her room. College students don't really have physical cash on them these days. Was this for drugs? Perhaps so there's no money trail on any of those apps such as Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Too many money trails for frequent transactions between peers in that circle. Let's reiterate, we're not accusing the housemates of using drugs. Their own peers are claiming that. So the obvious thing to do is follow the money trail. And of course, follow the drugs.
The Whites sure seems to be a code name for cocaine. Now we have to figure out who stayed in that apartment. Whoever it is, or a group of roommates, are linked to Bonnie and Clyde's drug dealings in town. Rawinski was informed about drugs being linked to the murders, so he started asking questions. Katie revealed that Kaylee, Zaina, and Ethan did cocaine. It just puts everything into perspective. You have Bonnie and Clyde being the pushers in town. 3 of the victims did cocaine. They were frequent partygoers at an apartment nicknamed the Whites. I'd say drugs are related to their deaths, if not the actual reason. Katie tried to contact Kaylee around 10 a.m. Sunday morning before the 911 call was sent out, so she knew Kaylee was in danger or had been attacked or even murdered, which just reiterates that the news had spread before the 911 call allegedly went out. If Katie knew Kaylee had been murdered around 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., then the surviving housemates had spread the news amongst their peers before calling 911. We know this, right? But what it proves is that 911 was not the first priority for them. And the only way it wasn't the first priority is the fear of retaliation, and trying to figure out how to cover everything up was far more important than notifying law enforcement. Mind you, the news spread as early as 8 to 9 a.m., according to one of the college students. And of course, Katie's call to Kaylee at 10 a.m. all prove it was known prior. If Kohberger was the killer and was a complete stranger, the housemates are calling 911 immediately. But if the killers were known or the motive behind the murders was known by the surviving housemates, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place because they have to think before they make that call. Thinking took about 8 hours, combined with possibly cleaning up or clearing the home out of any drugs, which they knew was the motive. Perhaps Bonnie and Clyde was there at some point and others who were notified. With the 3 additional male DNA samples discovered, including blood, obviously there were multiple suspects. And recently, it appears the prosecution literally has no evidence, as Kohberger's DNA was not discovered on the knife sheath. Wasn't this the link that placed him in the home? How did they expect to get away with this? The audacity to tell the public this man was guilty of murdering those victims, claiming his DNA was discovered on a knife sheath he had left behind. Then after he was convicted and is rotting away in prison, you claim his DNA was not discovered on that knife sheath. What the... Words can't describe this. Let's just end the episode. This is the Chaos Sector.